me feeling like I'm academics.
Okay. Roc Nation has now infiltrated media, and I've always said this, and I want to jump into the first topic too quick. The way how you control the masses, and I've learned this a long time ago, the most important form of power is influence. Why I say that is that if you could influence someone how to think or how to act, it's way more powerful than forcing someone to do anything or any other form of power. So I think influence is the supreme form of power. How do you get influence? Well, celebrity status, cultural equity, but media definitely has a role. Why? Because a situation could happen, and depending on how the media reports it, depending on what information they leave out, they add in, the context or the light that they shape things in, you might see in a very different light. This is why all billionaires, they invest heavily once they get to that point in owning a part of media. Okay? I believe Washington Globe, we could quickly look it up. It's owned by one of these big billionaires. I think Jeff Bezos has, he owns some newspaper. We could Google it right now. Which news outlet Jeff Bezos own? Washington Post. He owns, I believe, Boston Globe. Who owns Boston Globe? Okay. I don't know who that is. Oh, well, actually, that's a billionaire that we just don't know that well. Billionaires and media companies they own. Once you hit billionaire status, you got to get like a huge media company, right? Rupert Murdoch, he owns Fox News, okay, and the Wall Street Journal, right? Elon Musk, he owns X. Yes, X is still media, right? You know, he could shadow ban if one day y'all start talking shit about Tesla, shadow ban that shit if he wants to, you know? You have Patrick Soon-Shiong. They own LA Times, Time Magazine, and the Roberts family, they own Comcast and Universal. Any more interesting names on here? Now, the reason why I actually bring that up, and I guess I'm not going through my topic list. I'm going to get to it eventually, but you know that fucking, I ain't going to lie, coffee's a hell of a drug because it be having my brain just kicking. Anyway, the point with what I'm trying to say is it's been long storied that once you get to a certain type of wealth, and I've always looked at it from the aspect of there's something about the masses that demonize billionaires. It's such a very odd and very rarefied air that people actually become a billionaire, that sometimes when you see the inequity among people, there's homeless people can't starve, there's SNAP benefits is on the line, and you've seen someone just like, I mean, like, you got to think what a billionaire is. Like, a billionaire is a millionaire 1,000 times over, right? So, you know what I mean? A guy who's a millionaire is like him having $1 and that nigga got 1,000. So at a point, you usually realize as they try to play Monopoly in life, you have to kind of control the people in how they think, how information disseminated, and also you got to play a little bit of defense, right? Because at some points they start demonizing you. Hey, this guy, he's taken from the poor. He's doing this. He's living off government grants. He has this unfair advantage, and the people will start to hate those people. So the way you kind of balance it out, you got to get a media company. That's just always how it works. You get a media company that's going to be super favorable to you and just kind of seed information that could help your agenda. Again, remember, I keep telling you, even more than money's a form of power or currency or whatever you would call money in whatever economy you're in. But the most important form of power is influence. And media companies have a lot of influences. That's why billionaires, they're not trying to make money off owning, Washington Post. That's a defunct type of outlet. But it's about being able to control the narrative. Why do I say this? I say this because this happens everywhere, right? It not only happens with the highest of the highest when it comes to the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elon Musk. Elon Musk ain't making money from Twitter. You know what I mean? Like he's talked about the losses when he first got it. Maybe the losses got a little bit less, but it's still like it's losing him money, right? That's not where he's gaining his money. But what does he gain? He gained tremendous influence that he could use for his other agendas. I believe the same thing. And every time I go down this rabbit hole, I feel like people look at me, or some of y'all be like, yo, Ak is losing it. He's starting to get a little bit cuckoo, because I'm drawing these parallel with people who are playing in $1 billion realm. Jay-Z, Roc Nation. And I know y'all be like, oh my God, here we go. You about to go Alex Jones on us again. No, I'm not. So I was watching over the last couple of days, right? How media, and I've always told you this, like media choose to report things very differently. Like I could see TMZ's agenda based on what they report and what they don't report. I could see Rolling Stone's, Breakfast Club, or Clear Channel, or actually it's called iHeartMedia. And all these companies have different agendas. Shit, I won't even lie. You might say I have an agenda too. Cool. I have certain biases. I think I'm pretty open with them. These other companies, they're not open with whatever biases they have. So you kind of have to use this like analysis to see what's going on behind the veil. And why am I saying this? Again, I'm going to try to fast track this long intro. So a story, like for example, I've made these huge viral Rolling Stone articles, or I like to call them hit pieces, for like very minor things. But if they want to categorize me as, yo, Ak is misogynistic or whatever, like they do these huge pieces on it. Ak is right wing now. Like, okay, like that, like even if I was a Republican, like that's the big news that everybody should want to, consume. Why do they do it? It's clear, you know what I mean? Like they're leaning into their listeners, their followers. That's probably left leaning. And if they could create a central enemy, they're going to get more clicks, whatever the case is. I don't even think personally Rolling Stones has it in for me. However, it was interesting this weekend, or actually in the last 4 or 5 days, there was a huge story that came out. Huge. I mean, huge. It was about Uzi and Roc Nation being sued. Now, I love Uzi, and this is nothing personal towards him. But I only bring this up because I have to kind of use my platform, or what's left of it, to continue to shine a light onto what everybody else won't shine a light on, right? So you tell me if it's Akademiks having an argument with a woman on social media, it's breaking news. The right wing leaning social commentator is beefing with another woman, and he uses misogynistic overtones in the language. Huge story. There's a website. By the way, these are the same people. When I got sued for whatever, they couldn't stop printing that. Former assistant is suing Lil Uzi Vert and Roc Nation for harassment and labor violations. Now, the ironic thing about this is that even on X, and by the way, we're going to try to find this story elsewhere, but even on X, it's like case dismissed after 17 days. Huh? Doesn't sound right, but okay. Former personal assistant filed a lawsuit on October 20th in Los Angeles against rapper Uzi, Roc Nation, and Uzi Vert LLC, alleging sexual harassment via explicit messages, verbal advances, unpaid overtime, and excessive work hours up to 39 hours, and unreimbursed expenses over 3 years, leading to her resignation in April 2025. The complaint claimed the companies, that would include Roc Nation, ignored her reports and enabled the misconduct, violating California labor laws. Ironic. On November 6th, they're claiming the plaintiff voluntarily dismissed the case without prejudice, or with prejudice, actually. Barring refiling without court approval, with settlement details sealed. Okay. Now, the first thing when I seen this, I said, wow, this is like a bombshell, allegation. And I'm not here to say any of these things are true. But we all do remember during the time of Diddy getting 5 accusations a day, we saw a myriad of hip-hop outlets, or outlets that covered hip-hop. They would plaster these stories all about. Here it is. The Jane Doe. Another one. This is Diddy Diddy trying to fuck whoever, right? So I looked at this and I was like, let me see if I can find this shit on other websites, right? Roc Nation, Lil Uzi suit. And really, the outlet I was looking for, and by the way, I just want to also show you here, right? Once you get down here, it says Complex, and then it's a bunch of Instagram blogs. Well, Hot New Hip Hop's in there too. A bunch of Instagram blogs. Look, 42 CEO. What the fuck is that? Facebook. I guess XXL did post it. But you're not going to see major news coverage of this story that I think is super major. Unlike if Akademiks was arguing with a woman that they could plaster on all these outlets. Now, it's not about me. It's me using, and this is why I did that whole intro talking about what is how people with power affect things. Right? This would be a huge story if Roc Nation was not connected to it. Again, Rolling Stones, they'll post you for less. Let's see if Rolling Stones post this. Maybe they did. Maybe just not being front paged. Okay, we're on their website. All right, let's go to search. Let's go to search. Let's see what's going on. Now, I also want to do this in context. And by the way, this is not me running interference for Drake, because I've seen Rolling Stones do hit pieces on me and many other people within hip hop. I'm sorry that the camera's blurry. But Rolling Stone, Drake, let's just do that. So I want to give you some context of what they would post. By the way, Nancy Dillon, one of their hip hop writers, wrote, there's a lawsuit against Spotify claiming billions of Drake streams were fraudulent. Okay? All right. Cool. Now, a new class action lawsuit. Remember, this is November 3rd. This is what really kicked off that whole thing. Rolling Stone dropped this bombshell of a story that made it seem with a Drake picture, not Spotify logo. Remember, it's a lawsuit against Spotify. They didn't have a Spotify logo. They didn't have a Spotify logo and Drake. It just has a picture of Drake. Again, I'm telling you about media and influence. And this is how fickle the media is. If everything should be fair, but the difference between Fox News and CNN is if you tilt it a little bit this way, you get a whole different conclusion than if you tilted it a little bit that way. I'm explaining media to you. So, to the regular person who sees this, they're like, oh shit, Drake is buying. What the fuck? They got him. Rolling Stones, we trust them. They're saying, yo, Drake is buying. Now, remember I read the lawsuit. The lawsuit accuses Spotify of not being able to supposedly police botting on their platforms, which are claiming everybody is doing. But they did include Drake's name because they said he's the most popular on the platform. Was it a case that they said, oh, y'all are allowing Drake to bot? No. They're saying everybody's botting. And this guy, who's the most streamed artist, he's an example. How does Rolling Stones? No, it's not Rolling Stones. Rolling Stone. How did they put it on their site? Drake, billions of Drake streams are fraudulent. Just read it here. Billions of Drake streams fraudulent. You know why? To the uneducated person, that's all they care about. To the K-bots and the other people that don't, that's all they care about. Ah, fuck, got him. Now, surely if they posted this, surely, I would assume, what's up with this, the blur? Hold on. I would assume that they would have posted an assistant who claims they were sexually harassed, and their reports to Roc Nation and other companies involved in the mix flat out ignore them. Right? let's search it up. Okay. Roc Nation. Now, this is going to tell you all you need to know. Anything you're going to see with Roc Nation, you know, Rolling Stone they're known for hit pieces. They're known for hit pieces. Anything with Roc Nation seems like, look, it's free Meek Mill. By the way, this was a Roc Nation agenda at the time, right? Look, brutally beaten by rogue cops. The jailed rapper has been, oh, wow, okay. All right, okay. DJ Khaled, who was on Roc Nation, okay. Jay-Z and Alicia Keys sign a letter demanding justice. Oh my God, it's like a political, very pro Roc Nation website. Jay-Z's Roc Nation really, really, really wants a casino in Times Square. If you scroll down, you'll realize there's not one negative article, not one hit piece about Roc Nation at all. Okay? And that's perhaps, hold on. That is perhaps, give me 1 second. Here we go. Is it this? Give me 1 second. Let me not lose the plot here. I thought I had it pulled up. Give me 1 second. Don't lose that thought. Okay. That is perhaps. Hold on. That is perhaps on one of their, what they're calling their culture panels. You know who sits on that? Who sits on that panel? The CEO of Roc Nation. Okay. I'm not going to click into this. I don't know even how to get into this, but oh yeah. She sits in one of their exclusive. She sits on their exclusive culture panel. Okay. She's the founder and CEO of Roc Nation. And I'm only bringing that up because you would have not probably otherwise known. And I'm not even saying this is a bad thing, but it's very important that we understand why certain things don't get the same light as others. Roc Nation basically is on the damn board. You get what I'm saying? If you got a CEO that is affecting culture over here, they're probably going to make sure you're not writing hit pieces on me. Let's write them on my ops, but not me. Drake, we don't like that nigga. Write it. Matter of fact, put that nigga in the goddamn, put his picture as the fucking thing for bots. Oh, that nigga over there, run a hit piece. He's a sexual harasser. He's an abuser. Fuck it. He's a grapist. Desiree Perez? Oh, Roc Nation is ignoring an assistant getting sexually harassed and taken advantage of? Let's act like we don't see it. That's the whole point I'm going to say. Anyway, fortunately, there's other outlets out there, including mine. And I actually want to do some due diligence on what's going on with this shit. I got to see what's the deal. What's the deal with this shit right now? Okay. It's Simir. I think that's his name. Let's see if we can find him. I'm trying to find the all right. How can I find the lawsuit? We'll start with this, and then by the way, Uzi's getting sued for some other shit too. He's getting sued for his hits. Yo, what the heck? Oh man. Anyway. Okay. Here we go. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait. They didn't post it yet. Don't tell me they didn't post it. No. Don't tell me they didn't post this shit. Does anybody have the full lawsuit? Okay. Here are the here's the short. So actually we'll just we have it here. My bad. Okay. So new lawsuit's been filed on Lil Uzi Vert. According to the complaint, Jane Doe says Uzi's behavior escalated from long work hours to hostile and inappropriate environment. She claimed he sent explicit messages like, "Come run me down before you leave. I'm by myself right now. Send me something. You're more than my assistant. You're my bitch." She says she worked between 12 to 39-hour shifts, paid business expenses out of her pocket, and was denied overtime or reimbursement, all while being harassed and retaliated against by Uzi and his team. When she reported burnout and requested a performance review as promised by Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, she says management ignored her, leading to her constructive discharge in April 2025. This is what she's suing. She's suing for workplace sexual harassment, failure to pay overtime, failure to reimburse business expenses, violation of labor code, and constructive discharge. She's seeking compensatory and punitive damages from Roc Nation, Uzi, and Uzi Vert LLC, alleging emotional distress, financial loss, and systemic abuse tolerated by his management team. We have the full document here. Interesting. Yeah, here we go. So they contacted people at Roc Nation. They said you're only entitled to your salary. Okay. I like this. Oh, that's why it was buried. On February 23rd, Mr. Brinkley called Plaintiff Doe and asked if she would be willing to relocate to New York. Mr. Brinkley indicated that Roc Nation LLC will fly Doe out to New York City to meet with Desiree Perez, who's the chief executive officer of Roc Nation, as she would be the final deciding voice on Plaintiff Doe's employment with the company. On February 23rd, 2023, the woman met with Desiree Perez in New York. Ms. Perez met the plaintiff's request of the salary for $100K and offered plaintiff a relocation fee of $5,000, while explicitly stating that this compensation was to start. On the same day, I guess that's Uzi texted the plaintiffs to stay the night with him in his hotel room. Despite her saying she didn't feel comfortable with his request, he continued to pester her, sending her dozens of messages. Okay. All right, so Uzi was just trying to fuck on his assistant. Okay. Can you stay with me today? I'm going to go to the hotel to sleep later, though. I'll be nice. Just want to sleep. I don't like sleeping to myself. I won't touch you. We're literally not going to do shit, girl. I can control myself. Despite his efforts to convince her to stay the night, she did not. Okay. Interesting. During Roc Nation's hiring process, Desiree Perez promised Plaintiff Doe periodic performance reviews and opportunities to improve her compensation structure as her time with Roc Nation and Uzi grew. Roc Nation representation was knowingly false, as Ms. Doe was never provided with an opportunity for a performance review. Despite her multiple requests for a performance review, she was denied. Plaintiff reasonably relied on Desiree Perez's representation in changing her residence from LA to New York City for the purpose of working for the defendants. As a result of Perez's known misrepresentation, Ms. Doe is entitled to compensatory damage and penalties, as well as attorney fees and costs pursuant to labor code, blah, blah. Okay. Interesting. I hope these allegations are not as heinous as I think or see it to be. But I will say Roc Nation is stifling the media. And I just want to say that. If y'all see anything in the media, I'm going to tell you this right now. Let me just be blunt. Y'all see anything in the media about me, Drake, anybody Roc Nation don't like, blame Roc Nation. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Especially if Rolling Stone is the one that's writing the article. Like, if you going to stay out of this one, if you going to stay out of this sexual harassment lawsuit, stay out of all the hip-hop sexual harassment lawsuits then, please. Please, that's all we're saying. If you're going to stay out of one, stay out of them all. But that probably won't be the case. Anyway, welcome, people. Welcome. Another day, nothing has changed. Roc Nation still controlling and infiltrating the minds of people, but also controlling using their money and resources from behind the scenes. It's incumbent on people like me to point those things out, that at least you could have your third eye open, or at least realize why you're seeing what you're seeing. And maybe that awareness will allow you guys to process information a little bit differently. Max B was actually released from prison. And